Welcome back to the 34O podcast. Today I have the joy of speaking with Fehu, who is a body psychotherapist, an authentic mover, a primal adorer, and a wildly feminine creature. She has over 20 years of experience working with people and working with modalities such as core energetics and ERM. Her work is about embodiment, sensuality, authenticity, and self-expression. Fehu, I'm so grateful to have you here. Welcome.
Hey.
I'm really glad to have you here. So you describe yourself as an authentic mover, primal adorer, and wildly feminine creature. How did you first come into contact with sensuality and movement in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question, huh? Because we especially moving, we're babies, we start walking, we explore the world, so we are movers at that. I don't think back then I would have called myself a mover necessarily. I think that came way later, and probably when I started to do authentic movement, it's also a modality. And got a bit more into dance and moving my body, then I feel that made me more into a mover than I was before. And sensuality wise, I would say I've always been a sensual creature or a sensual being. And I feel it's connected a lot to my sensitivity and to just the smell of a flower or touching a leaf outside or whatever, or like a nice fabric or something. I feel sensuality for me is a lot connected to my senses and to my sensitivity. So I feel that has been part of me for a very long time already.
So how did that lead you to somatic body psychotherapy?
Well, that's a good question. I feel it's also how life brings you to something sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessary that I consciously went out being like, oh yeah, I want to do core energetics, for example. That hasn't been the case. I feel like core energetics found me when I was on a trip to the States quite a few years ago now. And I visited a new friend, and a book fell into my hands at his place. And that was Transformational Relationships Through Embodied Couples Work, from the two people who I was doing the ERM training with, which just happened recently. But they are two core energetic therapists. So when I read their book, it spoke to me and called to me because I felt like, oh, finally someone is speaking my language and is seeing relationships in the way as I do it, as like a way of evolving or transformation. And at that time I was already kind of like in the coaching field. And yeah, when I got more into core energetics and then read oh, there's a training for that also, and so many things aligned that brought me to that. And I feel what core energetics or body psychotherapy gave me was they gave a fundament under something that I was doing already intuitively when working with clients. So yeah.
So over your 20-year journey, how has your work changed?
I feel a lot because I've changed a lot. And yeah, I feel when I say that it touches me in a way, because it also makes me aware of how far I've come in this. So there's a saying in a therapeutic context, right? You can just go as far with your clients as far as you're willing to go yourself. So
that's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah. So for me, it's when I work with my clients, it's like whatever they bring so far, I've been there. And my work has changed, of course, because my containers changed, my ability to what I can hold has changed. I feel I became way more rooted and grounded, where I feel like many years ago it was a less grounded spirituality that I was, I did energy work and stuff like that. And that was all valid, but I really feel it needed this whole grounding component to go deeper. And that's also what I feel like I stand for, with keeping on going, evolving myself, or working on self to be in service of the people I work with.
That's a beautiful way.
Yeah.
So is there anything you would like to explain about the role of the body in transformation?
Yes, happy to. So I feel when it comes to the body, like, and especially in the body psychotherapy field, there is this belief that whatever is happening to you, whatever experience you have, is stored in your body, right? And sometimes what, maybe you have an experience where you're scared and you're like, you hold in your breath and you become rigid in a way, right? And then many hours later, it maybe feels like a shift, but in that moment, like, I mean, my dog is lying here under the table, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So when something happens to her, like, or she gets scared or whatever, she immediately shakes herself after, right? She's not holding it in her body, she's moving her body. And I feel what that means in the context of the body, in the work that I do, is that in our society, a lot of things, or we put a lot of emphasis on the head and on thinking and on the brain and on faster and quicker and whatever, but like, it's not really grounded in the body. We completely lost touch. And you see it also in how wars are, coming up more and more in the world, of like how people treat nature, like climate crisis and whatever. Like this is an exact mirror, actually, of how disconnected people are with their own body.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that quite a lot in other conversations I've had, is that the key message there has been that we all need to slow down, be much more present in the now, and see things, like you say, in nature, in what happens around us, and be. I just can see that people are living their lives and being numb to what happens around them.
Yeah, and it's definitely a social problem. Yeah, it's our society is not laid out in a way that supports the taking time, right? Just alone, like how quickly women need to go back to work after they give birth, for example. Like there's so many things, like, and I mean, in Europe, it's still a bit different, right? Like you go to the States and people work like 7 days a week or something like it. So it's insane. Like there is literally everything becomes more expensive. There's rarely time and space for people, also financially, to really take a breath. Like, and then I could go on with going into colonialism and like consumerism, and that's maybe too far and off the topic. But yeah, I feel that with what you said, with the numbness, like with having the energy in the head, and that's also a lot of times people understand from their mind what's happening inside of them, or why something feels the way it feels, but it's rarely really landed in the body. So if it's just understood in the mind, you can't think up a new experience, right? If you always had a certain experience that made you behave in a certain way, you can't think yourself out of that. It's impossible. It needs an experience.
You need to embody it. You can't just create it in your mind. Your point.
But I feel that's what I do in the work that I do with people. To have whatever, like, to give them new experiences. For them to be able to change, but for that it also needs to be felt in the body, and sometimes it even needs to be translated from the body, because sometimes we don't even know, we think something is normal or whatever, we don't know that we are holding it in our body, not consciously.
So from your background, I'd love to move into how this looks and feels in practice when someone comes to work with you, and then elaborate.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting. I acknowledge how passionate I just by talking.
Beautiful. So, but you work with embodiment in here and now. Can you describe what that looks like for clients when they enter the body in one of your sessions?
I think that might look very different for each individual. That depends on what they like individually in couple session or in workshops. Like it depends on what is alive in them in that at that moment. What do they bring to the space?
So you work with embodiment in the here and now. You describe what that looks like for clients to enter the body in one of your sessions.
Yeah. So, for example, like if the client comes to enter the body, it might just start simple and just putting focus on the breath. Yeah. And be there, because people say, oh yeah, but I can do that at home, right? But there's a difference. Like, one of the greatest tools in the work that I do, and hopefully most therapeutic work, is actually the relationship between the client and the therapist.
Yeah.
Right? Because with that person, you make a new experience. You might learn what safe connection is.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where it starts. That's one of the greatest tools. Yeah, I can have 100 techniques, but when the and we say core to core relationship, if the relationship is not good, then little can be done.
Yeah. And then you also have the there's a difference also if you're coaching a one-on-one or with a couple, for example, I guess.
Yeah, because well, because with the couples work is a lot about finding empathy for each other, right? Like empathy, compassion, understanding.
Yeah.
But that's also in a way what I do with the individual, right? But then it's like about finding compassion and empathy towards self.
Yeah.
And it could be like if one person comes into a session space, as I said, it could be breathing, it could be that the person is telling me something and their body is moving while they're saying it. Or they could clasp their hands or something while they talk the whole time. And like then I would point out, hey, like, oh, I'm observing that your hands are doing this the whole time, or the hands making fists. Right. And then it would be like, oh, so but I'm curious what's going on there. Sometimes people really just like they are like oblivious. It's like, huh, what, really, I'm doing this? And then they look, and then that might be, oh yeah, like I'm holding myself, or I think I'm angry or whatever. But the head is not always connected to the body.
It's a behavior that is subconscious almost, I guess.
Yeah. So that's just one way of kind of deciphering an emotion that might be here, or connecting with the body. And then there's a way of, if they maybe acknowledge something, then to bring it into expression. And it doesn't always need to be cathartic, like catharsis. It can be also very gentle. But it's also like, for me, I actually enjoy when I can go into the expression. And in the work that I do, it's like working with charge and discharge almost, in a way. Like if I point something out that, like, for someone that could be create pressure within themselves, and then I might even create that pressure, and through that, like, and it might not even, like, it might just having someone stand in a session and they want to sit down, and it's like, no, just keep on standing for now. And then that can create, then it's like, I hate you, why are you letting me stand, I want to sit, like, and then they can maybe connect with something, and it's not a big thing, and then maybe they connect to a memory of when they were made to stand in the corner at school because they behaved badly or something, and then tears might come with them, which then would be a discharge.
Yeah.
And the whole time they feel their body. I'm constantly asking, what's the effect in your body? What do you experience?
And people rarely do that in real life, connect with the body like that.
Yeah, like, or I wonder also sometimes if it's connected also to trusting what you experience in your body, right? But like, one of the things I would say, it's like the body knows, right? But it's hard if you don't know your body, and if you don't trust it, or if example, I feel I'm getting better at that more and more for me, and therefore also better more and more at, like, setting boundaries, for example. Is that I feel for a very long time I wasn't trusting my body when it came to connecting to people or relating. There was like something felt off, and I immediately went to, oh yeah, that's probably because of my past experiences or whatever, and then left it there. But now these days I actually acknowledge, like, oh, I feel anxious right now, meeting a new person, whatever. And it could be partly because I'm don't feel safe or whatever, but there's also something where I start to listen more and more to, oh yeah, but maybe there's also something to be anxious about. Maybe it's smart, right? Like, if someone feels like is afraid, for example, to in when it comes to sexuality. Yeah, imagine a guy being afraid of getting a hard on, and failing in a way, and then you talk, and then it turns out there's a lot of pressure. He just met that woman a day ago or a week ago, and it's actually going way too fast, right? And the whole time it's like, oh, something is wrong with me sexually, but it's like, oh yeah, but this pressure that you're feeling, like, it's also a sign of your body that something might go too fast.
Yeah, the body never lies, in my mind.
Yeah, in a way, they like, isn't there this book, I think, from Gabamate, something, yeah.
So how do you work with the client's sensuality? For example, to increase desire, break the focus on performance, or reclaim pleasure, without talking about technique?
Yeah, because I think what is happening, these increase automatically in the work. So it's not that I don't necessarily, like, of course, people come and they have sometimes a topic for the session that we are having, and that might be sensuality, but then I don't go and be like, oh, okay, like I will inquire more, like, tell me more about that, like, how do you feel about that topic? But I feel the work in itself is something that because it starts to increase the connection with the body and the feeling more. Like, I feel it's almost a byproduct that you become more sensual or more attuned or whatsoever. Yeah, because you said not talking about technique, right? So I'm not talking about technique. I just talk about the path or the journey of doing body psychotherapy, or even going to workshops or something like that, where you connect, where you become, where you gain more understanding about yourself, and where you get to know your body more, and where you connect more with your body. I feel it's unavoidable then to, or another, let's take another example, right? Someone who comes to a session, for example, and says, hey, I've never had an orgasm with a guy or something, right? And then that work might, like, I might not go directly to that, or the topic might come up, but through that work, that person all of a sudden might realize, oh, I'm afraid of being vulnerable. And that's because, if orgasm is a state of where you feel or are at your most vulnerable in a way, and that can be very scary. So over the course of doing whatever through sessions, then all of a sudden you reach to a point where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. So
it's a very,
I'm not sure if that makes sense right now.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think you're actually making a lot of sense. I think people are quite often afraid to look at their fears and their emotions, and that actually blocks them in the body somehow as well.
So what we talked about, like, everything that happened is stored in your body. That's like, it creates blockages, right? Like, for some people it might be hard sexuality split, they have like a very tight diaphragm. So I do also really like physically work on the body, and I'm not sure if people are afraid of emotions necessarily, but more so of feeling a pain that they felt sometime before.
Of reliving pain.
Yeah, of reliving it, or having it come up, or of just being in a painful experience again.
Yeah. So you often say there is a deeper truth in everything. I want to explore the truth and how it shows up in the body. So you've expressed that there is a deeper truth in every individual. So how do you help someone move from concept to contact?
Another good question again. First of all, I would say, like, I'm not necessarily saying there's a deeper truth for the individual. That's also true, but I feel there's a deeper truth to everything, right? I feel there's almost like an onion, right? There's another layer, and a deeper understanding or feeling into something. Well, I think a first step is to realize or acknowledge that it might be a concept in the first place. A lot of us have images of something, right? This is always like this, or that will never change, or something, like, to uncover the images we have about something. Like, some people call it a belief, like I call it like an image a lot of times, and an image in that sense is a concept. But a lot of times we are not even aware that we have that concept about something that is in the way of then connecting, for example. So I feel the first step is is to become aware that there even is a concept. And I feel through that something is already shifting without you needing to do anything for that, not necessarily.
So is that becoming then more aware in general and living with more awareness in general is a good first step?
Yeah, I feel like awareness is like, and awareness is not always coming from the mind. I feel sometimes awareness is actually coming up into the mind from the body. But awareness is a big part of change, being aware of something, because like it's hard to change something if it's in the unconscious, right? Because you don't know about it, so it needs a certain awareness. And then sometimes, as I said, then it might not even need a huge work afterwards. Just it coming into awareness is a shift. Yeah, I had that recently again, where something that I wasn't aware of, all of a sudden I became aware of in a session that I had. And first I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this now? But just because I haven't been aware of it before, but then just being aware of it shifted something. And I can't even explain how or what, but it did.
Starting to get more aware, I think, it is a first good step for everything.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So part of what you work in your workshops are ritual and presence. What happens when ritual and sensuality are combined in a transformative field?
I don't know how to answer that question, because I feel it's when you say like, oh yeah, what happens then? How does it look like? I feel a lot of times it's something that needs to be experienced also, like, because I can say like, oh yeah, this and this, I can talk, and we're talking right now, right? So it's heady in a way. And sometimes it's hard to explain. Sometimes it's really something that needs to be experienced, and then and because we're talking about the body, like sometimes it's wordless. Right? It's also sometimes when clients come and they had an experience that, for example, happened when they were very young, they are not able to voice it. So it needs a physical expression, for example, because it happened in a time when that person didn't have words just yet.
Yeah, so it's like a sensation in the body that is coming up that you can't really put a word on. Yeah,
I mean, you can repeat the question for me again, because I wanted to sink into my body, not just into my mind.
Yeah. If you elaborate a bit more about the work you do in workshops where you combine ritual and presence.
My workshops, I'm like, it's nice because I feel also right now, how much I love my work, how much I love doing workshops with the people. But I feel the answer would still be the same of what I said before. In a way, it's something that, and maybe I don't know what that says about me. Like, maybe for some people it's like, oh, you can't put it in words, or you can't put a label on it, you can't put it in a mind concept or something. But for me, it's still something that needs to be experienced. I mean, I could still tell you, oh yeah, you know what I do in workshops. Usually when we arrive, like, I feel ritual is also like is slowing down. It's awareness. It's taking time. It's feeling. It's honoring self. It's honoring a higher force, whatever that might be. Right? Like I'm not talking about God or spirituality necessarily, but there is a spirituality to every human being.
Yeah.
And they might not live it in the way like religion or energy healing or whatever, but it's just part of being human, is that there's a spirituality to you, that you're connected to something bigger in a way.
Yep.
And it might not be always conscious, might not always be tangible, but you're connected to something bigger, right? It's like I feel now I could go into philosophy and about atoms and the universe and like how everything is just connected. So for me, ritual is also like doing ritual, starting with ritual in a workshop and implementing it. It's almost, it's to come back home. It's to remember. It's to remember kind of where you come from, but not your parents and grandparents necessarily, but all the way back or all the way up, like again, atoms and the universe and whatever. But to reconnect to that part. And I feel that's also reconnecting to nature a bit, like to the nature in us, to the primalness within us. Like,
it's a very beautiful way of putting it.
thanks.
So another part that fascinates me about your work is the mythological energy you connect with, and especially the name you've taken, Fehu. And I think it also resonates now connecting with nature, like you just mentioned here as well. So you want to elaborate a bit on that? Okay, so your name and energies are linked to the Norse goddess Freya.
Yeah.
How are you inspired by the Freya legacy in terms of sensuality, magic, piece of warrior power, or mythological strength that she embodies?
Yeah. So again, I feel like when I read or read about Freya, she feels like a kindred spirit in a way. Like, it's, as I said before, right? There was something I was doing intuitively already, and then I gave it a fundament with core, and I feel that part of what I do or my work or what Freya stands for, like, the sensuality and fertility, femininity, but also like strength, and she used to be seeress and stuff. That I don't know. I feel that there's a resonance in me, and that's also again something that I can't just explain away with words, but it's just that I feel in my being that, like, that there's a deep resonance.
So how do you allow nature and myth to open up the space for transformation that is both magical and physical?
How do I allow nature and myth?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think nature and myth allow me.
Oh.
I like, because it sounds so weird, I allow nature, right? No, like, I'm opening up towards nature and maybe like myth or spirituality or whatever, like, but to open up to that and let that inform me from rather than I'm allowing nature. Like, I think I'm allowing myself to open up.
But I guess in one way we're all part of nature.
Yeah, and get in touch with our own nature. Yeah, and I feel that is again more something a bit more primal and maybe wild and untamed, or how do you say? What do you do with the dogs and animals when you train them, right?
With the dogs? Yeah, when you coach. I mean,
yeah, but there's a specific word that I'm looking for that I'm missing.
dressage.
No. Domesticate.
And domesticate. Oh yeah, domesticate.
Yeah. So I feel like the human species has been quite domesticated.
Yeah, well, that's true.
In a way. So I feel it's about coming back more to the, we say, oh, we're humans, but I believe we are also animals in a way, right? We are not necessarily the higher species. So I feel it's really about connecting back to your own inner nature, and whatever that is for someone, right? Like, I don't want to put another concept on it by saying, oh, it's exactly that or something. I feel that might also be very personal in a way. But I do believe we all have like our own inner nature in a way, and then there's the nature around us. But yeah.
So let's bring this into the very human field of love and relationships. So how can somatic presence, ERM, and embodiment affect the way we relate, feel security, intimacy, and presence in a loving relationship?
So one thing first is because I don't know if everyone knows what ERM is.
Sure.
And ERM stands for embodied relationship mentoring in that way, but embodied relationship. And your question was how somatic work relates into relating and
feeling secure and improving intimacy and presence.
Yeah, again, like you learn about yourself, right? That means you might more self-compassion, you might be able to change some things, and you get to know yourself better. You have new experiences. You might be able to change your images, the concepts, not always 100%, but like at least get to a 50, right? Where it's always like that, but it's like, oh, it could also be like this, right? So I feel that in and of itself, having a better relationship, how could it not be, right? Having a better relationship to self, how could it not have an impact on the way you relate to others?
Yeah.
There's something where we say, or we were, was we actually, but I know from my training where like one of the things to be mindful of when working with people is to see if they have a close kind of circle, like either family or friends, like if they connect with people, like if they're connected to people, because through that they can see change, right? So if someone is just always on their own, like it will be quite difficult because they have no one else mirroring them back or have relationships where they see that there's change.
Yeah, because I fundamentally believe that if you truly want to heal fully, if you will, you need to heal in a relationship because that's where you get triggered and mirrored the most
Well,
as yourself.
I'd say it's not like, I'm not sure who am I to say, right? But like to get fully healed, right? Like it's like the pinnacle of like, oh, I want to get fully healed. I don't even think it's possible in one life, or if at all. And maybe that's good because like it's a healing journey, or it's a journey of becoming more of who we are and of change and making life making life better for ourselves, and therefore like this will again have a ripple effect on the others. But and some things might be gone completely in the work, and some things, some people, everyone actually, they have one or two really life topics that will be for all of their life, showing up in different ways, and there will be some change, but it's something that will reoccur. Like, so I just sorry for crushing this, but I don't in a healing.
Okay, if you rephrase it like this, if you can truly find all the different wounds and errors you have in yourself better when you're with somebody in a long-term relationship rather than just being by yourself isolated.
Well, when you're by yourself isolated, you will not be triggered. You will be like, I don't have any.
But then you don't.
I'm never triggered.
But then you're never in truly connecting with someone else either in a proper way.
No, but what I believe to be true, and what seems to be true for many, or what is maybe it's even a universal thing in a way, is that you can't. And let's use the word heal. We don't mean the healing of everything, but to heal or recover from the wounding, like because most, if not all, of our wounding happens in connection, right? It happens with or through our first care, like our caregivers, like parents or other people who are close by. Like this is where most of our wounding is happening. So it needs a relationship also to heal it, because then, as I said, core to core relationship, like it gives a new experience, right? Maybe someone had the experience that the parents never really stayed when they had their emotions there or whatever, and then through sessions, like continuously, oh yeah, wow, like, and they might not feel it for 2 years, and then in 2 years, like, oh wow, you really are always here when I have my emotions. So you've never stopped wanting to work with me or something like that. So the healing happens in connection. We can't, because the wounding happened in connection, we can't change it just on our own in the forest or doing exercises at home, right? It's a nice add-on for people to implement what they learn in the session in their day-to-day life, but never underestimate being a witness or having a witness to your process and what's happening.
And also mirror what happens in
mirroring. I mean, just look at today. So many people on their phones and screens and whatever. There's very little mirroring in this world left for people. Like, but I think that's also maybe a whole different topic.
But then, I mean, another way to look at that is, I think a lot of people are also ending up in closing down their hearts for the outer world to connect with other people in many ways, right? Because of fear in one way.
Yeah, probably. I mean, some things are very similar, and in workshops it's good for people like group processes, because you see, there are many people who have similar things happening. But I'm not sure if I wouldn't say everyone is closing their heart or is out of fear. Might be true, but many probably do.
So what do you do when people are either afraid of their bodies or distant from their bodies?
It's like, it's as simple as that. Get support. Allow yourself to not figure it all out by yourself.
Okay.
And that's in whatever way support, right? Like, it could be therapy, could be starting with courses, workshops, coaching, cuddle events, whatever serves you or tickles your fancy in that area, but support. Like, especially if you're really afraid of your body and of your feelings and like don't know how to go there, don't do it by yourself, right? Because we're usually afraid because it overwhelmed us when we were younger. We're afraid it will overwhelm us again, right? That's a child part that is feeling that. And that makes completely sense. It's also that usually when people come, like, they might not have the container just yet to actually hold this strong of emotion. So again, it might be a smart fear of emotions, because it might overwhelm if it's all just coming in like that. But like, if you find someone like a professional who can support you with that, like, part of the work, or that happens in the work that I do with people, it's to building a bigger container so that they're able to hold them. And I guess that's also why some topics might come again, right? Like, it would be too much if it would just all like boom come in. So it's like, oh yeah, you do it layer by layer.
But
step by step.
And then one element there though is, I think maybe some people are also feeling shame about their bodies as well. So what would you tell them in order to get courage? What would you tell them to get courage to ask for support?
I'm not sure. Like, I feel that, I mean, whoever feels ashamed now, like, to go to someone, I'm like, this is me encouraging you to do it, right?
Ask for help.
Ask for, and there's also some things you can't do for other people, right? That's something people have to make their way to me, right? Like, if they want to work with me, I can't just go to people and tell you, no, there needs to be a certain, like, I feel this is the first step, and it might be a big hurdle. It might be a lot for someone to step over that kind of shame and reach out, and then could be that it's not time just yet. Right? But right, if someone sits at home right now feeling ashamed of doing that kind of work, it's like, I don't know, like, I'm here, but I don't know what to tell you to ask. It's almost like you have to figure out how to get on that bus to come to.
You need to make a conscious choice yourself to ask for help.
Or like, if it's not immediately a therapist or someone, call a friend. Be like, hey, can you help me? I want to do some work, but I'm afraid. Can you go the step with me? But still, the person needs to ask themselves. Right? Like, no one else can do it for. No one else can do the work for you.
So how do you reawaken feelings of vitality and eros?
Well, again, that's something that I said before already. Like, I feel it's the work in itself. Like, this is almost a byproduct. Like, or this is what happens when you work with the body and work through the emotions and with the emotions, and you get more into allowing to express it. For example, I mean, I'm always super happy when my clients tell me they hate me or they are mad at me for, like, because this is such a huge step, to and it's expression. It's something that might be there, something that someone thinks like, oh, there's a stupid exercise or something, right? But to bring it, so like with that, there's a bit of expression, and that is aliveness. So for me, aliveness is not and eros or whatever. It's not always about feeling good per se. It's like it's about being okay with what is. And aliveness, like life, right? It's not just light or dark. It's not just good or bad or something. It's all of it, and letting all of it be there, and giving the space and creating the space for it all to be there. That is what creates a feeling of aliveness.
I mean, we've spoken before about how there's always like a yin and yang or white or dark side to everything, right? So there's the one cannot live without the other in one way, I guess.
Yeah, the other side of the coin.
Yeah, exactly. So how would you? I mean, for me, I think it's really around how you leverage, even in yourself, the dark side. Where a lot of people today, I feel like they're maybe afraid of actually looking at the one side, the dark side of themselves. But in moment, what you're actually saying, I think you need to live to the fullest. You need to embrace not just the good sides within you, but also looking at the negativities or the dark side.
Yeah, and again, like it's energy. Yeah? For example, anger. Yeah, people are anger is bad or something. Anger is energy. It's a big energy, but it's energy, right? It depends on how you use it. Like if you constantly shove it away, then it comes out maybe in destructive ways when you're not aware of it. If you're aware of it, you might be able to own that. For example, you like to dominate someone.
Yeah,
and that but imagine there is usually so much pleasure and aliveness in actually owning that part that we think is quite dark.
Yeah.
In the core energetics concept, kind of, we would say, like, some people say shadow, I would say lower self. And it's just a part, right? It's not all of who we are. I guess that's what people are afraid of, that it's all that they are. But to have people express, and again, when I see clients express that part, of like, oh yeah, I think I'm the best, right? Like, who does not have that? Rarely anyone admits it, but we have listeners who are at home. But like, to feel into it, to feel into I'm the best. I think I'm the best. I am better than everyone else. And that's also, of course, that's not something that people will be like, most people will be like, oh yeah, that's okay, whatever. But if you just let it be alive for a moment as an energy, not as this is the only thing you are, but it's a part. And to then, what it feels like. And then there might be other feelings underneath. There might be a reason why you feel that or think that. But to let it be there alone without judgment. Yeah, but just letting it be an energy. Energy is aliveness, or having someone be angry. Like,
whether it's something that we like to face ourselves or embrace. So as we begin to close, though, I'd like to ask you about your vision and your heart's longing. So if someone longs for sensuality, aliveness, presence, and authenticity, but is afraid to or distance, what would you say to them right now?
One thing that I feel that comes up right now is like, you're okay. Like, with whatever is present or there, it might not be okay, but you are okay even though you have these feelings or experiences. Like, it doesn't make you a better or worse person or something like that. It makes you human. And then I guess, there's a place for you.
So what is your heart's vision for the body in future societies? What do you long for more people to find?
I long for more people to find connection.
Real
to self and others. I wish for a society that there is the energy shifts from the body, from the mind more to the body, or at least have it equally taken into account. More openness from maybe classical medical approaches, who are all super valid, but to collaborate more, like to work together, to take other things into account as well.
Yeah, not just the pharmaceutical way.
Yeah, or even even when it comes to therapeutics or something, right? Like, it's a different, like, if you studied at university, like, that's differently accepted usually than other. Even though I've studied as long as someone at university, but like the society, not society, but like the government or whoever, still distinguishes very much, and I would very much love for that for the gaps in many areas, not just therapeutically, right? For the gaps to become smaller, right? How in service of the process of the person, maybe, and how can someone be supported best?
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your presence, your wisdom, and your energy with us.
Well, very welcome. Thanks for having me and
No,
connecting me to my passion and the pleasure and the aliveness I have
no, it's
when it
beautiful.
comes to what I do.
This has been a conversation about body, sensuality, myth, and love, but also about courage, healing, and authenticity. I know our listeners will carry this with them. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of 34O.